How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got another automotive news video. Today we're actually going to be looking at the 2022 Subaru BRZ / Toyota GR86 that is going to be hitting the markets in this coming year. But before we actually get into today's video, I did just want to remind you guys we're really close to 1,500 subscribers on the channel. So please definitely go down there, click the subscribe button, and be entered to win $100 worth of my merchandise. Pretty much once we hit 1,500 subscribers, I'm going to be doing my very first giveaway where I give $100 worth of my merchandise to one subscriber and one subscriber only. And again, all you have to do to get entered to win is literally just subscribe to my channel down below. It's absolutely free, and as a smaller YouTuber, it definitely helps me out a ton. But anyways, now we're actually going to be talking about the 2022 Subaru BRZ / Toyota 86 or the GR86. Unfortunately, I guess for the Scion FRS guys, they're actually going to be discontinuing those. So originally this car was kind of like a trifecta between the Subaru BRZ, the Toyota 86, as well as the Scion FRS. So now there's no longer going to be the Scion brand, I believe. So the FRS is discontinued, but both Subaru and Toyota are going to be reintroducing this car for the 2022 model year, and it is going to have a completely different look, which we'll talk about in a second, and it's going to have a decent amount more horsepower, torque, just power in general, and some other features. But first, I did just want to show you guys this video actually on Subaru's website. Like always, I will leave these links down in the description below if you want to check them out yourself. But this is obviously basically just a little commercial / sneak peek of the new BRZ. And this is actually the first thing that I've seen that actually shows the car's actual body. I know I'm a little bit late to this too, but I figured I'd make a video on it still. So you can tell the overall shape is going to be very similar. Still going to be front engine, rear wheel drive, probably have a limited slip differential just like the older one. Also definitely going to be coming in manual, which is awesome because the only car kind of around this realm that's new that I can think of that's going to be coming in manual is obviously the 400Z, which a lot of people are excited for that as well. But it's a great thing that Subaru and Toyota are still offering this in manual. Even like little things like the digital gauge cluster, that's probably a cool little feature as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So now actually going and looking at the picture of the interior that Subaru has, as well as the exterior right here. A lot of people might not like the design. I think it's kind of cool. I do think that actually the previous generation, the ones that we have now, the BRZ and Toyota 86 and Scion FRS, I think those actually look a little bit more aggressive than this. This little like looks more like a fish face in the front, at least. I mean, it actually almost looks like, the Wish version of the new 400Z that's coming out. It looks very similar to the new 400Z, which I think is kind of funny. But they didn't really change that much. You can tell the seats are still more sporty seats. It's definitely going to be a driver's car, which is good for us, enthusiasts. But yeah, they're actually, surprisingly, they don't have a lot more power, which, I mean, is not really surprising. But going on to this car and driver article, basically the new model is going to have a 2.4 liter flat 4 engine. Again, Subaru Boxer engine, same, somewhat similar platform. 228 horsepower, which is actually 23 horsepower more than the previous 2.0 liter flat 4 that is in the previous generation BRZ. Unfortunately, these still aren't going to be coming with a turbo. I mean, I know that with these cars, it's all about quote-unquote purity and, you know, them just being a driver's car. And personally, I do think that being naturally aspirated has actually some benefits that people don't even think about. And it's just like a naturally aspirated car is much more predictable in the corners, things like that. Again, it's more of a quote-unquote pure car and like driver enthusiast car, but it would have been really cool to see Toyota kind of make the GR trim of this and actually have it with a turbo, or even Subaru make some sort of like sportier trim level for it and have it come with a turbo as well. Obviously this car is still joint manufactured between Subaru and Toyota, so it would kind of require a decent amount to put a turbocharger in these cars, because then, you know, there'd probably be more bureaucratic BS and like, oh, well, you know, which turbo do we use? What system do we use? How would we cool it? Stuff like that, which, I mean, honestly, modifying one of these, it's not really complicated at all to put a turbocharger on these. There's a lot of different aftermarket turbo kits that already come for the, you know, BRZs and everything like that, or that are completely like just bolt in and everything matches from everything that I've seen. I've never owned a BRZ, I've never owned a Toyota 86, and actually I've never even reviewed one on my channel, which I have been wanting to review one of these for a while now, at least, you know, the older generation. But again, everything that I have seen off the internet, you can turbo these things very, very easily, and they do make a respectable amount of power when you do turbocharge them. But yeah, I mean, there's not really much else to say about it, other than that Toyota and Subaru are going to be offering some minor little details that are different when obviously these two cars hit the market. And one of them is actually Toyota's going to be offering just a better warranty than Subaru, which is something to keep in mind. And also, scrolling back up here, this is actually the body for the new 2022 Toyota GR86. And then again, this is the BRZ. So if we kind of put them side by side, or at least flick back and forth, there are some minor differences, and I'm talking about like very, very minor differences, but for the most part these cars are pretty much exactly the same. I might get some hate down in the comments below, because again, there are some minor differences that come with these cars, and I do know that when the FRS was a thing, all three of them were slightly different in some little minor ways, and they could literally be something like a different shift knob, maybe different interior pieces, or something a little bit more noticeable, which is kind of like the front bumper here compared to this one. I just feel like the Subaru front bumper has maybe just a little bit more aggressive lip right there compared to the Toyota 86. That could just be the different angle and the shadow casting and how the, you know, two pictures are different, and the fact that the Subaru BRZ is just throwing it into a corner. But yeah, for the most part, they're the same exact car. So that's pretty much it. I mean, for a new car starting at $31,000 US, it's pretty, I guess, affordable when you consider new car options. But when you're comparing this car to like the used car market and other car enthusiast cars, I mean, you can probably pick up a C6 Z06 for that type of money for like in the 30s. So I mean, is it worth it? Some people out there might think so. Personally, I really don't care about these cars. I do think that they are cool cars, and they're probably a lot of fun to drive, especially with the independent rear suspension, limited slip, and just a naturally aspirated front engine rear-wheel drive platform that is always, you know, kind of like a go-to. You can never really go wrong with that. But in the grand scheme of things, these cars still aren't going to make a lot of power, which is kind of disappointing. I really hoped that with this new model year, either Toyota or Subaru would offer one of these cars with a stock turbo, but it doesn't look like we're going to be getting that in this coming generation. So anyways, guys, that's pretty much just it for today. Let me know what you guys think about these new Toyota GR86s or Subaru BRZs. Let me know if you guys are going to pick one up. Let me know if you actually already own one from the previous generation. And again, if you aren't subscribed already, definitely be sure to subscribe down below. It's absolutely free and helps me out a lot. But like always, guys, thank you for all the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one.